Hello, everyone, and welcome to Uncivil Law for a somewhat unannounced stream, but just a simple stream to say thank you. I feel it's always good to say thank you from time to time, and with the year coming to an end, now's as good a time as any to say thank you for all the things that you've helped me accomplish this year. This channel does not exist without the many people who are here to be part of it, without the people who are here to listen and learn and to engage with me and be part of the channel, without the people who donate to the channel financially, the uncivilians, the people who donate their 99 cents a month or more to help support the channel, the people who give the super chats, the people who watch the content, people who recommend it to others, the people who tweet about the content to others, people who recommend it to their friends, participate on discords, participate in chat, and otherwise help the channel in so many ways. This channel exists because of you. Each one of you helps this channel to grow and thrive and become better. This channel has existed, depending on how one counts such things, for a little bit more than 5 years or potentially longer, because in some ways the channel precedes itself when I was still deciding whether or not to create a channel at all. When I first got my feet first wet into the experience of YouTube by participating with Leonard French from Lawful Masses with Leonard French. And that was my first entree into YouTube and trying to think, and doing that. And then at some point saying, maybe I should do this too. Maybe there is something there for me to do. And that channel was created 5 years ago. And then, had about a year's worth of content, which was so bad that I basically eventually deleted it. So about 4 years worth of content. It took me a year to figure out what the hell I was doing, which sounds about right. So this has been a learning experience. That implies I know what I'm doing now, which is totally not true. Um, know enough of what I was doing to feel like I was minimally competent, maybe something like that. But it's been a growing journey, a learning journey, an exciting journey, and without you being here, without knowing that you guys want to see my content and enjoy the people who enjoy my content and the people who comment about my content, the people who have shown me such love and support and accolades. It's been great. And many of the people who I've met through the channel, including my fellow content creators, the people I've been able to spend time with in person and get to know, not only online, even though that's also been a thrilling experience to be able to be there and be on their channels and talk to them about a subject I love and talk to their audiences about a subject I love, bring my own unique thoughts or commentary, and basically just be the best uncivil I know how to be and becoming better with every passing day. I don't think I have yet reached the apex of what I am capable of. I think there's still more to learn about how to be a streamer and how to be a broadcaster and how to be a good legal analyst. I think there's a lot of room to grow, and I see a lot of potential. Right? I feel like I haven't reached my limits yet, and I feel like because of your support that I have the ability to explore those and find out where the limits of my abilities are in this domain. But it was a very good year for the channel. The channel gained about 75,000 subscribers this year. About half of those were a direct result of the Johnny Depp trial and about half not. Again, you could quibble with the numbers, right? It's like, how do you attribute these things? I mean, you can look at the growth period of Johnny Depp. That's one way to do it. And say, okay, there were about 40,000 subscribers that came as a result of Johnny Depp, give or take. The channel was at about 45,000 subscribers before Johnny Depp. And as a result of Johnny Depp 85,000, 90. Again, you have to, where you draw these lines is a little bit arbitrary, but that's roughly correct, right? That's roughly correct. So about half of it's a direct result of Johnny Depp, and about half of it is otherwise just organic growth, which I feel is like pretty good. You know, we had a nice little growth spurt there too after Johnny Depp. About 20,000 people after that whole thing um, ended were exposed to the channel, and it kept feeding as well. So there was definitely some growth there as well, which you could at least partially attribute to Johnny Depp if you liked. But I think that that's it, in the interest of fairness, although that a lot of that was from the growth of the channel itself. A lot of that was from people enjoying and um, experiencing the video contents of stuff. Um, and it's been nice. And the biggest thing I did this year, of course, was make the channel full time. That was a big decision that was very required for my own mental health. Um, and everyone has overall commented how much happier, how much more lighthearted, how much more, um, how much better I am since then. And it has not, of course, been a cure all. It has not solved depression completely, but it was a major source, or a major external pressure maybe on it that was relieved. And the results of leaving that pressure and leaving that has created a overall positive catalyst for me positively. And again, it has not always been, a perfect one-way valve, because why would you expect that? That's not how human beings work, right? The overall trend has been positive. Some days I'm good, some days I'm bad. Some days I are better than others, like you would kind of experience, you know, going through things. But the overall trend has been positive. And so many people have commented on that positively and seen it and reported how much happier I am and how much better looking I am. My skin is better, and how much better it has been for me. And that was a decision that I made in July to make this full time. And that was, you know, 5 months ago, which is nothing, especially compared to the years upon years that I'd done before then with the job that was creating external dissatisfaction. So I think that the growth that I've achieved in that 5 months has been remarkable and not total. And there's still a lot of room to grow. There's still a lot of room to improve. There's still days where there's still days in particular where it's bad, but in some ways, I don't know that it's ever as bad as the worst days were before. The new, the new nadir, the new lowest level is above the old lowest level. Maybe that's the right way of putting it. So, whatever that has been, and the channel has become enough. It has brought in enough revenue to make it at least sustainable for a while. It's not bringing in the kind of money I used to make, but then again, I'm a lot happier, and I'm able to talk about things I like. I think I, if anything, stayed where I was too long. I think, if anything, I created more lasting impacts for myself, created more, what would you say? I hobbled myself, maybe. I don't know necessarily those are permanent, but it was the residual impact of it was more long lasting. Maybe there's something in there that I'm trying to express this thought correctly. Um, because it's difficult sometimes to correctly express these ideas because you're trying to, reduce, some complex emotion into a correct uh vocabulary. But maybe it's like, you burn yourself, and you hurt yourself physically in some way, and those injuries take time in and of themselves to fix, even after the external reason for the injury has been removed, right? Something like that somewhere. But yeah, and I am incredibly grateful for every one of you who has been there for me in good times and bad times, when I'm feeling up, times when I'm feeling positive, and times when I'm not. Times when I'm feeling down and depressed and feeling, well, depressed, I suppose, is really the best singular word for it. I don't know that you can really, I guess I could overcomplicate it, but to some degree, why? It's just like I appreciate everyone who's there and sticks by me when I'm not feeling great. And I appreciate everyone who's part of helping me, because I really, in case you couldn't tell, I really enjoy this subject matter. I really enjoy talking about law. I enjoy being a professor. And that's basically what I've become. I am a professor of law. That's what I am. You guys have hired me. You've hired me. Or I hired myself, and you were kind enough to attend my classes. Something like that. And you've allowed me the experience to talk to you and to talk about law and to read cases and look at oral arguments and try to look at what's good, look at what's bad, what I agree with, what I don't agree with, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, do legal analysis, do deconstruction, trying to educate on various impacts of law. You allow me the freedom to study anything I want within law, which is amazing, right? You allow me the freedom to dip my toe into basically every field of law that passes my fancy. And I don't know that it's possible to become a professor of all the law, but apparently I'm trying. Apparently I'm trying. Let's speed run professor all the law. How about just all of it? Or at least all the American law. Certainly enough as it goes. But that's basically what I've hired myself, or you have hired me to do. And it makes me happy. It makes me happy. And the fact that I can kind of talk about any subject I want on any given day, and I'm not just like I wouldn't necessarily object to being a professor in a law school, but this has its this has its advantages too, because like one day I can be doing a contracts case, next day torts, next day civil procedure, next day constitutional law, the next day, you know, a 1983 case, the next day, whatever. I can learn it all. The next day, U.S. Supreme Court oral arguments. The next day, Darrell Brooks grounds. Right, the entire sort of panoply of this field of interest, and to talk with other people who are interested in this subject is it is the single biggest thing. Well, there's two things that this channel has done for me that were not possible, or I wasn't able to make possible, at least beforehand. So there are two big things this channel has done for me. The income allows it to keep going, but that's not like what it's done for me personally, right? The What it's done for me is two things. What it's done for me is it allowed me to find my tribe. Or maybe it's the same thing in two parts. Whatever. Part A, it allowed me to find my tribe in the people that are watching this channel, commenting on this channel, have helped this channel grow to 120,000 subscribers, have provided their participation, have provided their likes. It provided me an audience that wants to hear me talk about the thing that I want to talk about, which is amazing. This is one of the truly great things about the internet in general, and that it allows everyone to find their tribe, or it makes it easier in a lot of ways to find your tribe, because kind of no matter what your interest is or no matter what your niche is, there's a group out there for you somewhere. And I have personally found a lot more value in the video expression of that than perhaps its predecessors, like Usenet groups or bulletin boards or things like that. For those of us who are old school, who remember a time, with Usenet. What's a Usenet? Yeah, I know, we're old. It's fun. But the fact that there is this medium that allows me to talk to you and show you the documents on screen and read them and explain them. And sometimes you guys ask questions, sometimes you troll me. But many times you ask me good questions, and it allows me the chance to talk about this. As I suppose you will appreciate, it is not exactly practical to go into, say, for example, a bar and be like, who wants to talk about law? Right? You can go into a sports bar and be like, let's talk about the game. That you can do. Not a lot of bars that cater to the lawyers. And what might surprise you, at least in my experience, and maybe it's me, but what might surprise you is that even like in lawyer places, people don't really do this, or at least in my experience. So you might think, oh, you just need to go to conferences, like lawyer conferences. You just need to go to CLEs, and people will be thrilled to just talk about law and talk about all kinds of things. No, that's not really been my experience. That's not really been, they might talk about the topic at hand, like someone gave a presentation, and there might be some cocktail hour talk sort of about, oh, what did you think about it? What do you think, what do you think about the speaker? But in a lot of ways, it's like shallow, at least in my experience. So there's not really been a venue that has allowed me to go to a place and be like, how about that Gorsuch, baby? And like, 1,000 people be like, yeah, let's talk about Gorsuch. It just doesn't really happen. So what this channel has allowed me to do is to find my tribe, in the people that watch it, the 120,000 of you that do it. And also, part two, the second thing it's done, or maybe it's the same thing in a different way, is it allowed me to meet other lawyers who are like this. Because again, it's not been my experience, generally speaking, that there are a lot of lawyers like this. But there are in this YouTube community. And I've had the privilege and honor of getting to meet some of them and know some of them on a personal level. Some more than others, but that's kind of true of any dynamic. Depending on how you count such things, there's 30 or so odd people who might be considered part of this community, which incidentally isn't even a lot. But you're going to have better relationships with some of them than others, just because that's natural. But I've been privileged to hang out with some of them in person, get to know some of them in person. Some of them call me from time to time just to check up and see how I'm doing. I can call them to see how they're doing and be friends. Wow. Friends with a mutually shared interest. Our clique. I finally found my clique, baby. We didn't have a table at the high school cafeteria, but damn it, we 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 have one now. We have one now. And now we're the cool kids. At least in our own universe, we're the cool kids, which is good enough for me. And a lot of you guys too, because a lot of you guys are like, yeah, they're the cool kids. Or at least that's the one way of parsing how the experience has been of it all. So there's a lot that is really, really positive there. And I just wanted to really I just really wanted to pop on at the end of the year and say, hey, things are okay. Things are heading in a positive direction for a lot of these reasons. I'm not there in a lot of ways, but I'm heading in the right direction. And hey, heading in the right direction ain't too bad. Stumbling uphill isn't too bad. Right? You might stumble, but at least you're heading uphill. So hey, not so bad. So, there's and things could always go the other way. You never know for sure what tomorrow will bring. But I just wanted to say thank you to so many of you guys who have been part of this experience and have validated me and have I really love it. I really love it when I'm in someone else's chat and I pop in just to say hi and I see cowboy hats. That makes me really happy. That makes me happy. I do like to try to pop into other creators' chats when I see them live for if no other reason, just to say, hey, I'm here and I support you. Right. I think that's a good thing to do. It's like, I'm here just to let you know I'm here. I support you. I validate you. And I try to make a point when I can and I see someone is one of my creators is out there and they're live. I try to make a point to go to their chat and say hello and say, I'm here. And sometimes, they're talking about something. I'm like, oh, can I get a link? Because that'd be interesting. And so many of them will invite me on and to talk about things. And that's really, really awesome and validating. So those are just a few of my overall thoughts about the year. In terms of what I'm going to be doing going forward, in terms of the channel, I am currently trying to look for ways to make things better. I am considering a variety of things. The lighting, being able to change the lighting, push the button. Lol. The lighting makes me happy. Sometimes it's the simple things that make you happy. The cowboy hat makes me happy. Some things like that. And yeah, I'll read some of your super chats. Truffle Hound gave Australian $7.99 to say, "I'm so pleased the bee fish and Get versus Fucked made the introduction amazing, too good." Thank you. That was a very nice thing that they created for me. The Katie Fulton gave $4.99. Thank you very much. Truffle Hound says, "Is Blackleaf coming back to Lawyers and Dragons in 2023?" As a regular character, if I'm invited. As a regular character, if I'm invited. Vanessa Stoller says for $9.99, "I believe 2023 is going to be amazing for you. You're wonderful. I hope you focus on the positive things in your life. The rest will fall in place. Happy New Year." Thank you. Laura Lenny gave Canadian $6.99. Say, "Kurt, I love you being your authentic self, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, and love how much happier you're becoming. Cheers." Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the fact that people recognize that I'm happier and healthier and that I'm heading in the right direction is very validating. And it is appreciated. James Spinner says, "You speak honestly with integrity and without bias." I try. I try to speak honestly. The Tech Crisis says for $10, can't stay, but just want to swing by and show support. I'll check the rerun. Thank you very much. Lazarus says for $5 Canadian. Love hearing you talk about law, Kurt, and how hard it is to find people offline who like to talk about law. I can relate. Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily a unique problem, what I'm describing. I think there have been a lot of people who have a lot of interests that are somewhat niche. Some of those needs have been better accommodated in the real world than others, at least in my experience. You know, it hasn't been true offline, but online it makes it possible. Thank you. Dave gives $5. I love how you're able to explain the law and help make sense of it. I disagree with you sometime, but respect your views. Well, I appreciate that. I don't mind if people disagree with me as long as they can follow the chain of reasoning all the way through, because that's sort of what I aim for, right? I consider myself much more of a process-based person than a result-based person, and I try to manifest that in my explanations, right? It's not just like, this is the result I want or not. It's like, let me take you through an entire chain of logic from some sort of first principles to how this makes sense in the conclusion. And hopefully my chain of logic makes sense at every step along the way so that you can follow it. It's like, if I'm doing that, then I'm succeeding. If I am making a case, I'm making a case, basically. And if I'm making the case and my conclusions flow from my premises, then I'm doing pretty good as a lawyer, right? It's like that it flows, and I appreciate that. Hen Health Bath Company gave $19.99. Say congrats on all you've done in 2022. Here's a fantastic 2023. Thank you. Karate Cat Mono Laura says, I love legal education I get from you, Kurt. Constitutional law is so cool, isn't it? I think it's cool. I think our founding fathers set up a pretty good document. And I think that understanding it and why it does what it does and why it doesn't do what it doesn't do is helpful. There's a lot of philosophy that's embedded in that. And I think the philosophies are pretty logical and are based on experience. They didn't come out of nowhere. They came out of the world and hard knocks of reality. I gave $100. Thank you very much, for your very, very generous super chat of $100. It's always the little thing, Kurt. You're the best. I've enjoyed your channel immensely. Hang in there. Glow T gave $19.99, says, thank you for sharing your knowledge. You're wonderful, with a little heart. That's nice. Thank you. Trufflehound gave Australian $7.99, said, can we expect more stupid appellate decisions? It's one of the fun things you're watching, trying to parse through abject stupidity. It's golden. It happens. It happens. Sometimes those abjectly stupid decisions come from the US Supreme Court. Sometimes they have unanimous votes. But I'm like, this does not work. This does not work, unanimous Supreme Court. I don't care that you have 9-0. This does not work. Let me explain to you why it does not work. Here's the problem. And then I explain it in tones of frustration. So can you expect future decisions that are stupid? Yeah, probably. Because, human beings and all. A Capitan gave $4.99. Say Happy New Year's. Cheers to you and a wonderful channel. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sometimes the Supreme Court is less supreme than my crunch wrap and generally makes you spicy when they get that way. Yeah. Nicholas says the Supreme Court is subject to politics based on how they get appointed. I'm not sure that's exactly correct. I'm not sure that's exactly correct, and I don't know that's necessarily the best way to think about it. The politicians vote for judges whose legal analysis matches the politics, but I don't know that means that it's good to think about the judges as political actors themselves. Um, how would you best say this? Law and politics are not the same thing. They are related in some sense because law is the examination of the results of the political process. So maybe that's the right way to go about it. You could think about this in sort of how you would consider a statute that gets parsed versus a uh, how a judge would think about it, or how a judge should think about it. So a judge will make a good judge will make a decision based on a philosophical legal framework that is divorced from politics. And I think you guys see that, at least in me, from time to time, because I there are times where I've had to say to you, like, if I was a judge, I'd rule X and I don't like that result. Right? A politician doesn't have that problem, or they have a different problem in terms of like political compromising, maybe. But a politician will never sort of, it seems unlikely a politician will create a decision like in the first instance that disagrees with their own wanted outcome. Like politicians are more outcome oriented, and judges, maybe at least to my mind, are more process oriented. So for me, for example, like a Republican, if they appointed me, would get a consistent originalist, but they won't get someone who always decides for the Republicans because that's not how that works. They'd get someone who applies the law regardless of which political party it was. You know, they would go against their own political priors because the law required that result. That's one of the hallmarks of being a good judge. So I don't, while a while a while a group of politicians would be expected to appoint a judge of a certain philosophical temperament, I don't think it's correct or helpful to think of what the judge does as an extension of politics, because it's an extension of the philosophical framework, not the desired for outcome. There's something in there somewhere. Um, Trufflehound gave Australian 799, says just because it's the holidays, what do cowboys call midnight? High moon. Cute. Uh, $2 from I, who said Fall Guys. There's not enough people here to make Fall Guys viable. We've learned that the hard way. When we try to do Fall Guys, it doesn't work. I'd happily play Fall Guys with you. I just can't get enough of you guys to play to make it work. Lisa Kaufman gives $5. Say, Kurt, you're an inspiration. I love your wit, knowledge, and candor. Thank you. Thank you. Haley Mouse in chat says, can you believe what a different place you're in compared to this time last year? To some degree, yes. I feel like I worked pretty hard for a lot of it. I'm very grateful that my work manifested in some sort of results. Since the federal constitution applies to states, what's the point of making all the states constitutions? The states can go further, and it also gives you an independent legal basis for a decision. And the states can give constitutional rights in domains that the federal government doesn't. And there can be differences in interpretation between the two. So it happens occasionally. Some states more than others. But, there's a point to have state constitutions. Gold Meyer says, you have a brilliant, deep thinking mind, very special in the world of sharing your knowledge of law. I love to share your channel. You're correct. You have just begun to achieve so much. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah. The uncivil awards, what kind of awards am I giving out? Best judicial decision, worst judicial decision? Best judge. Most snark. Fire Salaman says judges rule the outcome the CIA want. That would imply that judges never rule against the CIA, which they sometimes do. One of the great things about our system is sometimes the courts rule against the government. It's hilarious. Best solve set. Oh man, that's Mike's channel. Mike's all about the best solve set. He's single-handedly dumbing down every. That's fine. So that's a way to go, I suppose. Him and his audience seem to like it, so okay, I suppose. Do I think Wickard v. Filburn should be overturned? Sure. And I also don't think it would necessarily do as much as people fear. Like a lot of people seem to think that overturning Wickard v. Filburn would have this huge cascade because so many decisions rely on it, but they don't rely on it in a way that would create the cascade. So basically, Wickard v. Filburn sends this outer bound, and it's almost impossible to think of something that goes past it. Like it sets the bound so far, it's a little bit difficult to conceive what you could do to even go farther. Because it's like if the non-interstate non-commerce is interstate commerce, like how much further can you go? Right? Not much. Not much. We found some limits of it, but not much, right? And so overturning, so basically every decision on interstate commerce says, well, if Wickard v. Filburn is correct, this has to be correct because this is less egregious. Because again, Wickard v. Filburn is like the outer edge. Like it's a little bit hard to conceive of something more egregious. It's almost definitionally as far as you can possibly go. So every court says, well, if this is the outer bound is here, which is like as far as you can possibly go. This case, which is within that bound, because almost all of them are, must necessarily be okay too, right? If you can go this far, you can go less far, which is logical enough, right? It's like if I can travel 100 miles, I can travel 99 miles, right? If I can travel to the end if I can go to the end zone, I can go less than the end zone, right? So that's sort of what Wickard v. Filburn does. So if you overturn Wickard v. Filburn, it would take away that benchmark, but it doesn't necessarily imply that any of the existing law, it doesn't imply in and of itself that any of this existing law is wrong. It just would have to require a different justification, right? Instead of being pinned to, well, here's this really extreme case and this is less extreme, so we're done. You'd actually have to think about it in some way. So I don't think overturning Wickard v. Filburn would be as dramatic as a lot of people fear. Because Wickard v. Filburn is so extreme. It's the non-interstate non-commerce is interstate commerce. It's like that, So I would think, yes, I think you should overturn it. I just don't think it will cause instantly all the walls to fall. And we should do it because, well, the benchmark's in the wrong place. The surveyor put the boundary line in the wrong place. So we've got to say, okay, well, that's not the boundary line anymore. Then, okay, what is the boundary line? Excellent question. Let's think about it, right? We actually have to think about it. So, Christy Hoffman gives $10. When I stopped, I wasn't sure I'd stick around. I spent most of my life on the other side of the law, but I've learned so much. And in what you've shared personally, I feel less alone. Thank you and Happy New Year. Well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Studio Al gets $4.99. Stay awesome, Kurt. We love and appreciate you. Have fun growing. Yeah. So And stare decisis has value. It just isn't the end all be all. Stare decisis is an aspect of the system we have. It's an aspect of common law. Common law, common law is at its core stare decisis. That's what common law is, as opposed to civil law. Like civil law, which France uses, damn the French, right? They don't have stare decisis because it doesn't make any sense for them. Everything is based on the statute, and precedent doesn't have any real value. It's persuasive at best. The entire concept of common law is stare decisis. Stare decisis is what common law is to a large degree. That's the point. But you know, it doesn't have to be an inexorable command. So, doesn't the Controlled Substances Act rely on Wickard? Yes, that was Reich. Reich versus Ashcroft. Yes, in a decision which I thought Justice Scalia betrayed his principles. I was disappointed. But then again, if you didn't have Wickard, you could still go a long way to doing a lot of things. I mean, if you're the federal government, you can obviously do anything that travels across state lines. That's interstate. And you might even be able to do stuff that's within states to some degree. So, but yeah, I mean, that's Reich, which was based on Wickard. And then Scalia's like, I give up. I mean, that wasn't yeah. Yeah. Oh, look, it's what brand of hat do I wear? I don't wear any brand of hat. Nitrous Junkie. This hat is custom made by hand. It's one of a kind. It was made for me by hand by Texas Hatters in Lockhart, Texas. The style of hat is called Gus. It is a very nice hat, but it is not a brand. It was made by hand. Old school, baby. Old school. Have I seen the fraud story about the congressman-elect from New York's 3rd? I have. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. It's amazing. It's amazing he was able to perpetrate that. Oh, I went to these schools and we've never heard of him. Oh, I worked at Citibank and never heard of him. I started this nonprofit. No, you didn't. So, can't the Civil Rights Act switch to the Equal Protection Clause? As it relates to governmental action, sure. But the Civil Rights Act also extends to private actors. So you need a different justification to go after private actors. You can't. The Civil Rights Act, to the extent it applies against the government, would be a derivative of the 14th Amendment. To the extent that it applies against private actors, not so much. You need a different rationale. Interstate commerce will get you a long way. For that, for a lot of things, like for example, I mean, probably most businesses, no, though not necessarily all, but many businesses, because they flow through interstate commerce. You know, so yeah. Generous says, Kurt, you literally made me cry happy tears just now because your honesty about depression really touched me. I really love you, Kurt. You're an amazing dude. Keep working hard and stay strong. Thank you, Generous. That's very, very kind of you. Every time I hear the word generous, I think of your name now with the J. You've infected my brain. What size is my hat? 8 3/8 is my size of my hat, which is one of the reasons, incidentally, I had to get handmade in the first place. Because basically no hat maker makes hats that big. I literally have a very big head. My head is more than 2 feet around. Yeah. The circumference of my head is more than 2 feet. My hat size is 8 3/8. I can't buy off the shelf because basically no one makes hats that big. So we have to go the hard way. And then they found he's part of his Ponzi company. I saw that too. Here you thought your 7 and 7/8 head was huge? No. Lol. Eight, 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 and- 8 3/8, baby. It's all the legal stuff into it. It could be, yeah. Big head. You look a bit odd. You look a bit odd with a small head at your height. Hey, I'm 6 foot tall. So most 6 foot tall people don't have heads this big. So I don't know. Shave your head and it fits loose. My hat's already pretty tight. My haircut's already pretty tight, but you know, okay. You thought your son had a big head? Yeah, I know. And shout out to my mom, right? Shout out to my mom. She had to give birth to me. So good times. You feeling a bit sorry for my mom, Laurie? Yeah, I guess it worked out okay. Yeah, most people don't know I'm that tall, Sandra. I don't know what it is about me on stream. But most people think I'm shorter than that. But no, I'm 6 foot tall. I'm 6 foot tall and I've got a big head. Yeah. God bless Mama Uncivil. Damn right. She's a great mom. And my father too. They're both fantastic. They'll be married 50 years this year. And they're both wonderful. I call my dad for advice frequently. And he gives good advice. And call my mom sometimes too. That sounded weird the way I said it. I call them both all the time. They're still married, yeah. Yeah. I thought the stream would be like 5 minutes. What did my parents do besides by being parents? Well, my mom, nothing. She was a stay-at-home mom, and she did great. She was there for us and raised us, and she's a very good cook, incidentally, too. My father worked on computers in various forms, which is where I got, I suppose, my interest in computers from. I had a computer when I was relatively young. And I do, yeah. Some people don't remember this, but I have a computer science degree. So I had a strong interest in computers as well. So yeah, I have a computer science degree, and that actually exists for reals. I actually went to actually Clemson and actually got an actual computer science degree. Or did I? Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Syracuse Brad says that's why you have no interests with StreamYards. Yeah, I'm not using StreamYards. I'm using this competitor called Melon, melonapp.com. In case you're curious, it's run by Streamlabs. And I've decided to put my back against them, which also incidentally is nice because then I get those displays on screen. Because to get like when you guys give super chats or stuff to get it on screen, you can't do that in StreamYard. You can't do that in StreamYard. You can do it in OBS, which is one of the reasons I was using OBS for so long was to get those acknowledgments on stream. But because Melon is owned by Streamlabs and the donations are coming in through Streamlabs, well, the super chats, it can see all those and then it puts it right on screen. So you get the acknowledgement on screen. So even if I don't read it right away, you get your acknowledgement on stream. So, you know, good times. So Kurt has a fake CS degree. I think I actually have a copy of my CS degree in the closet. Hold on. We'll find my degrees. We'll do this the hard way. Hold on. do 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 do. All right. Oh yeah. That looks good. Clemson University, on recommendation of the faculty and by virtue of the authority vested in them and trustees of the universities, have conferred upon Kurt Mueller the degree of Bachelor of Science, Computer Science. In testimony whereof, the seal of the university and signatures of officers are fixed the 7th day of May, 2004. Oh, ooh, fancy. Fancy looking. Oh, okay. But wait, kids, there's more. Because I also have this degree from Clemson University. On recommendation of the faculty and by virtue of the authority vested them in the trustees of the university, have conferred upon Kurt Mueller the degree of Bachelor of Science, Political Science. And testimony thereof, the seal of the university and signatures of officers is attached on the 7th day of August, 2004. So, yeah. So I got 2 BS degrees. Double BS. That's how much BS we've got. We got August 2004, May 2004. And KJ Grass, technically, it is not a double major. Technically, it's not a double major. It's a double baccalaureate. It's harder. It's harder. Technically, because, well, first of all, you can only get, at least at Clemson in the time, you could only get a double major in a BA. You couldn't get a double major in a BS. So if you wanted to do a double major, you had to do 2 PA degrees. Second of all, they're conferred at the same time. So I was harder. So that's why one is May and one is August. Because I graduated twice. Double baccalaureate. So harder. And then from the University of Akron. The University of Akron School of Law, by authority of the Board of Trustees, upon recommendation of the faculty, confer upon Kurt Mueller the degree of Juris Doctor, together with rights and privileges pertaining thereto, witness seal the university and signatures of officers, given in Akron the 20th day of May, 2007. Oh, that's a good one. Am I going to be a patent lawyer? I am a patent lawyer. Nothing going to be about it. And then, of course, I have the one behind me next to my play button. Supreme Court of the United States of America. Kurt A. Mueller of Alexandria, Virginia, was upon motion first made to the court in this behalf by Martin H. Belsky, duly admitted and qualified as an attorney and counselor of the Supreme Court of the United States on the 13th day of June in the year of our Lord 2011, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 235th. A testimony whereof, as clerk of said court, I hereunto set my hand and affix the seal of the court in Washington, D.C., this 13th day of June, 2011, by William Sutter. So there's my credential flex in honor of the New York's third. James Spinner says a degree in computer science and still occasionally starts stream muted. Yeah. Awesome Cat, $10. Let's see, where was I? Studio Algae 499 said, also stay awesome, Kurt. We love and appreciate you. Have fun growing. Awesome Cat said, I don't always catch your live streams, but I'm a part of your replay crew. I appreciate your humor and knowledge. There's so much dumb on YouTube. It is nice to be smart. Malik Foxon said, howdy, Kurt. Got to catch one of your streams for once. Good to see you, Putty. Just lurk in the chat while I drive. And James Spanner said, degree in computer science and occasionally start the stream muted. Yeah, those are definitely some things that happened. So I will put my my license. I will put my license to practice before the United States Supreme Court back on the shelf. There we go. So yeah. So I think I'm a real lawyer. I think I'm a real lawyer. Do I have custom boots? Not right now. No. I just have a pair of Oxfords that I like. I have just some Doc Martin Oxfords that I wear. So yeah, those are all my. And then of course I got my new bar card in the mail. You want to see? Okay, hold on. I got to go get my wallet. Hold on. This just came in the mail. Very exciting. I only got this like 2 days ago. I only got this 2 days ago. So I was pretty excited about this. State Bar of Texas. Except no substitutes, baby. Except no substitutes. So, yeah. Thank you, Generous, for your contributions as always. I use StreamYard. Can I record a video podcast using Streamlab in this mail you're talking about? Oh yeah. Yeah. You can record local if that's what you mean. So yeah, I'm recording this as I'm streaming it. And so you can download it and then yes, you can record a podcast using it. So yes, it's good stuff. Does it mean I get to cross-examine Walker Texas Ranger? I confirm. Rain Man YYC says we've confirmed that Uncivil wears pants while streaming at least. Sometimes. Lol. I won't say that I've ever streamed without pants. Why does it look like your credit card? It's supposed to, I suppose. I mean, it's the same. I don't know. I don't know why it looks like a credit card. That's what they designed it for. What do you want from me? I've got my Virginia bar card floating around here somewhere. I think. I don't know where it is. It's sitting in somewhere in a box. Do I have any videos of action in court? No, I don't. I haven't practiced in court. I've been in court a very, very few amount of times for pro bono work. I did some pro bono work when I was in DC for like open for the fair housing. So I represented some indigent defendants and did some work there. Was basically the only time I did court. But my main field of law, no, I don't. My work is transactional. It's just that it's nice to have, right? It's nice to have. Yeah. How many states can I practice in now? 2. Curious about what my very first computer was? I think it was with dual floppy drives, dual 5 1/4s. I think it had a 30 megabyte hard drive. I remember I had a laptop with an internal 2400 baud modem. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What kind of transactions? Patent law has been my field for 15 years. What's transactional law? Paper. Basically, it's just a catch-all term for paper law. It's where you're not in court. So yeah, it's paper law. In my case, patent law and doing paper patents. So, or at least I use it as a catch-all term for patent for non courtroom law. I call all non-courtroom transactional. Um, you could call it paper law. It's the we're trying to keep you out of court. You know, that kind of stuff. Do I have a favorite patent? There were some great patent applications. My favorite patent application, which was rejected, was for the burial resurrection machine because the graphics were great. It was a coffin that would reanimate the dead. It might be my all-time favorite I saw. It wasn't mine, but it passed through the water cooler, as it were, right? For the ridiculous. But yeah, the burial resurrection machine for the coffin to bring people. Oh, other than there was also one that was really interesting. That was an application I saw one time where it was 4 paragraphs long, and they weren't long paragraphs. So it was a very, very short application, and it was based on a quote from the Bible. And I can't remember what the quote from the Bible was, but it's some sentence from Jesus about love, right? Jesus said something about love in the Bible at one time. I'm sure he said many things about love, but one thing in particular. And this guy quoted it as one of the paragraphs. And then the other paragraph was, therefore, by using this method, we can achieve love and peace on the earth. And then I claim the love and peace on the earth. And the thing that got my attention that was so weird about it, because it was such a gimme, the patent office rejected it for utility, which, fair enough. But they didn't give the prior art rejection. They rejected it for utility, saying, well, this can't work. It's not, but they didn't reject it for the prior art. What prior art? The Bible. It's a gimme. It's a publication that's more than a year old, man. They didn't give the prior art rejection. It was so disappointing. But that was a good one. It's like you missed a gimme on that one. You missed a gimme on that one, patent office. That was annoying. So they're claiming the peace and love produced by their quote of the Bible? Yes. As I remember, they were trying to claim peace and love based on this thing that, if it was invented, was obviously invented by Jesus because it's a quote from him. So, yeah. So, yeah. If you love me, feed my sheep. It could have been something like that. I don't remember what the quote was. It was a gimme. And then there was another one of my personal faves, a guy who is a patent attorney. He has a reg number and everything. A guy petitioned for part of the money back he paid the patent office because he said that the Patent Reform Act, which increased the fees, not much, but it did, and also incidentally lowered the fees. It created new fee categories too, among other things. So it created new fee categories for people who are like really independent, really small. And it also it created new really small fees for like the truly independent inventor. Not that they really exist, but it's still. And then it it increased the fees for like the big guys. And not like a huge amount, but still. And the guy's like, I want my $200 back because the Patent Reform Act is unconstitutional because it was signed by Obama, and Obama isn't the president because he wasn't born in the United States. And I'm like, dude, this guy's a patent attorney, and he wrote this. And the office, much to my chagrin, gave a very boring, banal, answer. It was just like, It was like a bureaucrat wrote it. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. This is such a golden opportunity. How can you do this, patent office? How can you not have fun with this? How can you not like write it? How can you not write a no, we're not going to do that? And also, we're going to spend the next several pages calling you an idiot in many different ways. It was a disappointing miss from the patent office. It's like you should have had a little bit more fun with it. No, also you're a moron. Would have been a much more interesting response. But no, I have one younger brother. And I do not have any nieces and nephews. So those are some of my favorites that I saw circulating around the water cooler. The one that I always thought got a bad rap was for the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, because it was Nestle, I think, came out with these things called Crustables, which was peanut butter and jelly, like, in a thing that could go in a vending machine. And they filed a patent for it. And I forget how it panned out. I think they withdrew it because of the criticism, but it wasn't like inherently stupid. Like maybe there was prior art, maybe it's been done, but the idea wasn't inherently dumb. Like people have been making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, sure, but maybe they haven't made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in this particular way before, because that was the whole idea, right? We've improved upon making the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We have made it in a way that will prevent it from going stale or longer so that we can, sell it in vending machines and shit. And I forget exactly how they accomplished that objective, but it wasn't like inherently stupid. But it got a lot of criticism at the time because, like, I can't believe they're trying to patent the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm like, well, it wasn't exactly what they were doing. They were trying to patent an improvement on the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So, Smucker's Uncrustables. There you go. Yeah, something like Uncrustables. Yeah. So I think they might have withdrawn their patent, but it was a little bit unfair. They got a bad rap, in my view. Do I work independently from home? I worked independently. You can't patent food, can you? You can, actually, if it's a new food. Sure. Especially if it's a new way of putting the food together. Yeah, because now you're not patenting the food, you're patenting the arrangement of the food. Sure, you can, right? You can patent food because it's a chemical composition. Now you're going to have novelty problems out the ass because, people have been cooking food in so many different ways for such long periods of time, but it's not prohibited from first principles. So if you come up with, and particularly if you come up with like some new ingredient for food, like, some sort of new preservative or something, I mean, that to be sure. But yeah, there's nothing that bars you from getting a patent for food if it's novel, which is going to be tough, but it's not impossible. It can be done. Ohio State was able to trademark I doubt they were able to trademark it in the abstract. I'm sure they were able to trademark the Ohio State University. I doubt they were able to trademark the word "the" as a naked text. Maybe as a stylized text, maybe, but not as naked text. That seems very unlikely. Trade secret is better than patent for food and beverage. Typically so, yes. You're very unlikely to get one, and if you do, you have to reveal your recipe, which kind of defeats the point in a lot of ways. So yeah. Like Hershey's chocolate when it's first made, the patent on the machine. Yeah. So yeah, if you come up with a new way of doing something, like because like patents can be fairly simple. One of my favorite examples of a fairly simple patent is, how if you buy like a 12 pack of cans of soda, right? They now typically come in a long box with a flap, right? So you pull that flap and it like opens it part of the way so that you can reach into the thing and get the cans without all the cans coming out. Someone got a patent for that. Someone got a patent for that flap. It was an improvement. Before that point, the cans came in like more rectangular things that were more tall, and you would open them and they would spill all over the place and stuff. And someone came up with, what if we put it in a longer thing. We have this little flap and you tear it away and then you can reach in there and it's easier to get. And it's like, it's simple, but someone invented that. So, it had never been done before and it was an improvement. So, hey, easy. Easy. The chat seems to think the Uncrustables are the way to go. Yeah. So, what if I was to mix a small amount of my own DNA in every food item? Well, you might have problems with the FDA. But the patent office will probably give you a clear. It would certainly be novel. So, sure, I guess. You might have the patent office might say yes, but you might have some issues with the FDA on that one. So I don't know about that. Do my parents watch the videos? Many times, yes. Do specific applications really count? Sometimes. The answer to patent law, like many things, is sometimes. Sometimes, yes. Sometimes especially if the special application has never been done before, right? If it's never been done before, then it's to some degree novel, or at least arguably. So, yeah. You can't patent the genetic nature. That's true. You can't patent the genetic material in and of itself, but that wasn't the question. The question wasn't can I patent my genetic material? The question was, can I patent food that I add my genetic material into? Which is a different question. So just because an element is not patentable doesn't mean the combination is non-patentable. So yeah. Well, anyways, I'm going to sign off for now. This has been a much longer stream than anticipated. I thought it was going to be just a short thing. I might have to shorten it out and make a best of thing because this is bizarre. I might have to clip this down or something and be just thanks. Make a short of it or something. Reduce it to 60 seconds. Yeah. Could you patent the genetic sequence if you came up with yourself? Possibly. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, yeah, you can definitely do that. You can patent GMOs. Yeah, you can do that. And in fact, you would want to talk to Monsanto. Monsanto definitely has some thoughts on the patentability of food. So yes, you can. So again, I just want to end the stream kind of where I started. Thank you very much for all your support of this channel. Thank you for the help in my own psychological well-being. It's nice that people are listening to me and that there are people that find value in this. The channel has grown 75,000 is very, very validating. The fact that I'm learning more about a subject I love all the time. That's one of the great things for me as well too, is I'm always learning. I have a lot of base knowledge though. So when I read something for the first time, even though it's new, I can often explain it in real time because I have enough baseline knowledge to be able to understand the new information in real time. But I'm always learning all the time. And I like that too. I like the fact that I'm always learning. It's really, really cool. And then I'm reading something I really, really like. And thank you all for all your support and your love and encouragement and we're certainly not done in terms of the channel itself, in terms of my own self-development, in terms of anything, but it's been really, really great. I'm gonna go. In fact, I should do that. In fact, I'm gonna do that now. I can redirect you, and I'm gonna do that because I can. I'm sending you over to Joe's stream because I'm gonna pop over there myself in a minute. So hold on while I do that. Okay, great. And I just saw a super chat came in, PLN 100. from Iwa. I'm having a great time watching you. As I said before, you're better than Netflix. Thank you for the quality content in 2022. May 2023 be your best year yet. Regards from Poland. Kick ass. Thank you very much. All right, I'm sending you over to Joe's stream. I'm going to pop over there myself. It's a drink, hang out and cash stream, as I understand it. And I will drink and hang out and cash. And I will definitely see you over there soon. I have been on Civil Law, my friends. Until later, I hope all is well. Cheers, my friends, and goodbye.